this is obviously going to impact people in nearly every facet of their lives. This added stress, but this added information. It's almost as if you're describing somebody who is seeing on just like a wider range or greater frequency of or broader spectrum. And so there's more information coming in that can feel overwhelming. How does that impact people in relationships? How does that impact people trying to just do their 9 to 5 and not getting into an argument with their partner?
Oh, that's a tricky one because I've done both. But I mean, communication, knowing yourself, that's the biggest thing, because we will have terrible relationship issues. We will attract to toxic people because of this need to save somebody, feeling someone's sadness, feeling someone's pain. We want to heal that, and oftentimes we become healers because of it, but that's not the question. It can really affect it, because especially if you're not dating or in a relationship with a highly sensitive person, they're not going to understand your needs. And that's when the neuroticism really starts to come out for other people. They're like, oh, you're just being neurotic. No, I have boundaries that I have to uphold to protect my energy and my ability to do things in this world that is not made for me. And that can be really difficult. There can be lots of arguments and fights of not understanding about, someone needing more time or not wanting to go out with them, not wanting to go to, their in-laws or do this extra thing after school and getting frazzled. It's difficult. So grounding, everybody needs to ground and breathe. Nonviolent communication. It is a handout you can get online that goes through what I need, what I want, what I feel when I don't get what I need and what I want, and then a perfect place for you to write down what it is you're trying to communicate, because oftentimes we have a hard time communicating because it's such an intensity that we feel, that we get overwhelmed and we shut down really fast. So this shows up in a lot of different situations. We can have really thriving, great relationships if we feel safe and protected. If we don't, it's going to be more challenging, and especially if there's trauma involved.
Yeah, well, and I want to point people towards the episode we did back in March with Annette James talking about grounding and, offering some kind of tips and tricks. But just very briefly, can you describe what that means for the audience?
Yeah, so I do deep belly breathing, breath work. Super important. I close my eyes, I start to breathe, and then I start to look around the room. I want to reorient myself to the space. I'm not in the past where traumas might have happened, where I'm feeling really frazzled because of those memories of the past experiences that I've processed so deeply. And I want to take myself to the present, because essentially that's what it is. When we get in this heightened state, we want to maybe even go to a dark room, and lay down. Maybe we take a nap. Maybe we go for a 20-minute walk and complete the stress response cycle. Maybe we work out, read a book, pet our dog or cat or snake or whatever kind of animal you have. We communicate with friends, but most likely we're going to need to just have some downtime and do what makes us feel grounded and happy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really just resetting the nervous system and finding a little bit of a way to turn your body off and back on again to get all of the signals back in line.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't want to let you go without talking about how this impacts people sexually. As we're talking about sensation and maybe turning the volume up on our perceptions up to 11, that's going to seriously impact people's sensitivity when it comes to orgasm, when it comes to being overwhelmed or overstimulated. I mean, what tips or what information would you tell people to be looking out for when they're highly sensitive and looking to have sex?
I would say that most likely you know your body pretty well. And you need to communicate what feels good, what does not, what you like, what you don't like. And if it's too much, you need to speak up. You need to take a break. And if that boundary is not being respected, any of the boundaries are not being respected, then we need to have another conversation, or we need to just get out of the situation. We do feel things immensely, and we can feel, really good, but we do have to be careful, because we are lacking some of that serotonin too. We can really fall in love and get into that place. So we have to be careful too, and think before we react. We can really jump into some toxic things.
I definitely hear the communication pieces, but is there anything, I guess, functional or just practical to help avoid some of that overstimulation? I'm imagining pairing sex with, turning off the lights, or, whereas some people might enjoy candle lights and dramatic or romantic music, that may not click for everybody.